Hey, Queenie! Feast on this!
Hello everyone, I'm here to talk to you about Resident Evil Zero, one of the last games in the classic style of Resident Evil video games. Originally released back in 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube, and again in 2016 with some HD touch-ups. Resident Evil Zero is one of the more unique games in the series. Why do I say that? Well, it's got some weird and unique stuff going on that we need to talk about. And it is technically the first game canonically in the series, so it's a better place than any to get started. For starters, you play as two characters for most of the game, but not like in the first Resident Evil or Resident Evil 2, where you picked one and played their version of the story before seeing the other half. In Resident Evil Zero, you have two characters going through the same story side by side. These characters are Rebecca Chambers, the rookie member of STAR's Bravo team and Team Medic, and Billy Cohen, a suspected criminal on the run. Rebecca does a few short sequences by herself at the beginning and around the mid to end point of the game, but for the most part, Rebecca and Billy are side by side for the whole game. Along with having to work together, both characters have some unique differences. Rebecca can combine herbs for healing and mix chemicals to solve certain puzzles. Billy is a giant meat stick of a man who can tank anything the game throws at him and can push a few heavy objects. And he also has a lighter, because every male character in a Resident Evil game has to have a lighter. Resident Evil Zero takes place hours before the first Resident Evil's mansion incident in the Arklay Woods outside Raccoon City. Rebecca and the rest of Bravo Team's helicopter crash land in the forest, and they discover a military police transport that was carrying a criminal for execution, Billy Cohen. Deciding this is more important than their previous assignment of investigating the ongoing murders and cannibalism reports, they split up and begin to search. And then Rebecca finds a broken down train in the woods, hops on, and we are all the way back into classic survival horror in less than 5 minutes. A few cars in, and she finds herself face to face with Billy himself.
Billy. Lieutenant Cohen.
So, you seem to know me. Been fantasizing about me, have you?
He's quite the character. After seeing the
Freaked out things
going on the train, our two characters partner up and begin trying to find a way off the train now that it's moving and a mysterious man has started singing. We are in the thick of it, and there's no getting off this ride. After a few dangerous encounters with zombies, leeches, a shape-shifting creature, and a giant scorpion, our duo successfully stop the train.
This is Rebecca. I have engaged the control device for the brake. Over.
Roger, I'll put the brake on now.
And arrive at a research/training facility run by the local pharmaceutical company Umbrella, who we all know is the villain. You have played or seen the other games of the franchise, right? Or one of the terrible movie adaptations, at least? After a lengthy adventure through the mansion, research facility, a battle with a giant centipede, weird bug monsters, our old friends the hunters, and some monkeys, we pop out the other end and fight a giant bat. Who is the worst boss in any Resident Evil video game ever? We'll come back to him later. I have a lot to say. A short jog later and we are in another Umbrella facility. This one a little more sciencey. They've got computers, test chambers, and a few other gizmos too. It's at this point our protagonists are piecing together that the villain might be the descendant of a former deceased high-ranking Umbrella staff member who is out for revenge. Keep on jogging, solve some light puzzles with the help of our service elevator friend, and our magnificent duo gets separated. Thanks, monkey. Rebecca, not being one to sit back and wait while a friend's in danger, immediately runs into the fray, fighting her way past more horrible monsters, a familiar boss in a way too tiny room, and finally saves our boy Billy, just in the nick of time. We are in the end sequence of the game now, and just a few more puzzles and revelations remain until our due is home free. Solve a very tricky water puzzle, shoot a horde of enemies, and run past some incredibly dangerous frogs, and we are on to the ending. Turns out the villain is the formerly deceased Umbrella research director James Marcus, the man Umbrella killed off so they could speed up the T-Virus research under the guidance of Albert Wesker and William Birkin, but now revived as some kind of horrific leech monster hive mind. Neat.
Shit! Oh!
Well, good thing it's weak to fire and sunlight.
Billy! Can't handle sunlight.
And that's it. Side mission complete. Time to get back on that murder and cannibalism investigation we came here for in the first place. So yeah, that's Resident Evil Zero's story. Now let's finally get around to talking about that gameplay. The whole pseudo-co-op nature of the game is a great idea. A little finicky at times, but it works. Look at it hard enough and you can see the early makings of future co-op Resident Evils like 5, 6, and Revelations 2. Trading items between characters, the new item drop feature, they all work seamlessly and add some fun and interesting ideas to the series. Shame they brought back the 2 space items though. I hate the hook shot so much because of this feature. But aside from the new stuff, it's standard fare for all Resident Evil games released prior to Resident Evil 4. Tank controls, pre-rendered backgrounds, and monsters hiding behind corners waiting to get a cheap shot in. And on that note, I would like to talk about the things I really don't like about Resident Evil Zero. First off, Rebecca's incredibly small health pool. She has the lowest health of any Resident Evil character ever. Save the small characters like Resident Evil 2 Sherry and RE4's Ashley, who are intentionally meant to be super fragile. But Rebecca, man, she dies in like 2 or 3 hits. From anything, and most bosses will take her down to danger level in a single hit. And on top of this, they make you play some of the game's most dangerous sequences with her, and her alone. It's a small complaint, but she just can't take a hit from anything. That's probably why Billy is the total opposite and laughs in the face of most boss attacks. Speaking of bosses, why does this game have all of the worst bosses in any Resident Evil game? The Scorpion pins you in a corner, and you're in a stun lock match until one of you dies. The Centipede is on an invisible timer that will kill Rebecca, and going anywhere near it damages you quite a lot. The Bat. The bloody Bat is the worst boss ever. Yeah, it dies really quick, but you can't lock onto it. The room it's in is so small, it only has one camera angle where you can shoot it and see it at the same time. It has minions that block your aim and absorb bullets, and on top of that, they can put you in a stun lock loop. No joke, on my 4th playthrough to make sure I had all the footage I needed for this review, it killed me 12 times. After that, you fight the Proto-Tyrant twice. Both times are in rooms so small you can barely maneuver, and in the second one, your only option is to slowly back up waiting to get pinned against the wall. But oddly enough, the final 2 bosses are fine. You can easily get them in a flinch lock animation if you have ammo for all your big guns like the Magnum and grenade launcher, but they can do the same thing if you don't have enough ammo. Some of the basic enemies have this problem as well. Zombie dogs can get you in a stun loop if 2 of them go into the running jump kick attack at the same time. This will kill you very fast. The leech zombie gives no craps about anything. It only dies to fire, ignores all damage and stun attempts, pushing it back after a grab attack will get you into a second grab attack, and it can attack while running to close the distance. Seriously, this thing does not care and it will ruin your day every time it shows up. But at least you can run away from all of them. And finally, the Hunters. There's only a couple of these later in the game, but they have attack chains that can last up to 4 or 5 hits. And you can bet this kills Rebecca if it lands. On top of that, they can take multiple shotgun blasts and grenade rounds to the head without flinching. Something isn't right about that. Those are my only major gripes with the game. You can bypass most of my complaints with practice, a quick trigger finger, and some luck most of the time. I grabbed this review footage from the HD remaster of Resident Evil Zero that came out in 2016. It's simultaneously not a great graphical update, but just enough to be impressive. Yeah, I know that sounds dumb, but that's how I feel about the game. The lighting looks amazing though. The pre-rendered backgrounds still look great, but the untouched 3D movies from the original GameCube version look really bad.
You can't be serious. I refuse to abandon my work.
We may as well talk about the post-game content. Beating the game unlocks a new mode called Leech Hunter. It's a collectible hunting game. Collect as many items as you can in one run to unlock progressively more unlimited ammo weapons. It's kind of fun, and a single perfect run can take an hour if you're careful and get lucky with enemy and item placement. On top of that, if you're playing the HD remaster, you get the new Wesker mode. Don't get excited yet, Resident Evil fans. It's just a slight modifier on normal mode. Billy's character model gets replaced by Wesker's from Resident Evil 5, and he gains a super dash and deadly eye lasers that can kill most enemies in a single hit. Rebecca gets a cute little Team Wesker outfit of her own, and nothing else. It's a fun addition, but it's nothing crazy that will keep you coming back. But killing all the enemies in a room with a single angry glare? Not bad. Well, it's about time I threw all my thoughts together and told you what I think. Overall, I love Resident Evil Zero. The story and characters are delightfully campy like the good old days, the graphics still hold up, and the gameplay is just good enough that I can tolerate the bad parts. 7 out of 10. Great game, but with some flaws. I can safely recommend Resident Evil Zero to you if you're a fan of horror games, have an interest in the series, or just want to check out something new.